This is Southern Cross News with Rachel Williams.
Good evening, everyone. Thursday night's catastrophic storm has now been declared a natural disaster. The federal government is offering financial assistance to flood-affected areas as the extensive clean-up operation continues. Our reporter Jacqueline Robson has the details.
Council engineers are partway through their structural investigation of Hobart's rivulet. So far, they've identified no serious structural damage at two separate sites on Barrack and Campbell Streets. Tomorrow, crews will inspect two underground tunnels in the city where they're expecting to find several tonnes of debris.
Our priority at the moment is to ensure that both the rivulets, the main rivulet, the Hobart rivulet and the Newtown rivulet are clear of debris ASAP. We have to be ready in case an event like this struck again. The
scale of the destruction is prompting federal government assistance. It's now been declared a natural disaster, with monetary assistance being offered to families and low-income individuals. Grants of up to $9,000 now available.
And that's to provide assistance for clean-up, for repairs, for any work that needs to be done around the home.
Assistance is also being offered to councils. Hobart is still tallying its costs, already running into the tens of millions of dollars. New footage shows the impact on Mount Wellington, or walking tracks remain closed with rubble spreading across the paths. Engineers are assessing Pinnacle Road, which also remains closed. It's unlikely to reopen for several days.
We will also secure assistance for councils to assist them in the recovery effort, removal of debris, to provide assistance for infrastructure repairs, roads, bridges that have been affected.
What's expected to go some way in helping those in a massive clean-up operation. Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
The Federal Finance Minister has guaranteed Tasmania won't lose a cent of its current GST payments as part of a potential carve-up. But the opposition says Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull needs to back that guarantee when he visits the state tomorrow.
Flying in to fund part of a proposed multi-million-dollar walk and cycleway between Latrobe and Wynyard. The federal government's $4.8 million commitment matching local councils.
We've been talking about this project long before we knew that there would be a by-election.
While construction of the Cradle Coast pathway could still be some time away, as the project is still awaiting state government funding, businesses like the Turners Beach Berry Patch are set to benefit.
I would hope there will be other opportunities for businesses to link up with the pathway and create a wonderful tasting walkway.
The Federal Finance Minister also weighing in on the GST debate. A Productivity Commission report into a potential carve-up was today given to the Federal Treasurer, but its contents won't be released for several weeks.
The guarantee that we can give to all Tasmanians is that Tasmania will not get a cent less than what has been committed.
But admits,
I haven't myself even seen the report.
I'm not comfortable taking somebody from Western Australia at their word when they say that Tasmania should be okay.
Peter Gutwin has previously said the state would be $1 billion worse off over 4 years if our GST was cut.
The Minister of this country is today given a cast iron guarantee that Tasmania will not even be 1 cent worse off. And we intend to hold them to that.
Labor says the report has to be released before the Braddon by-election.
When Malcolm Turnbull is in Tasmania later this week, this should be the first thing he raises with him. We want to see that report and we want to see it now.
And while commitments keep coming, one thing Steve Martin won't guarantee is whether he'll join the Liberal Party.
Oh, look, I've been here 5 minutes and I think that's premature to be asking any questions like that.
Monica Dadson at Southern Cross News.
And a medical specialist has described the severity of wounds caused in an alleged stabbing in Moona 2 years ago. Rihanna Lumley has pleaded not guilty to the charges, which the prosecution alleges was sparked over a Facebook post.
This is the scene of an alleged scissor attack in December 2016. Rihanna Lumley charged with wounding and assault, accused of storming the home of Megan Gerlash, confronting the woman over a Facebook post. Witness Georgia Jacobs at home telling the jury the accused was demanding the social media post be deleted, alleging the pair were in a catfight when scissors were drawn, the pair falling over in the scuffle before the alleged stabbing occurred. A medical specialist telling the court the injuries were deep and penetrating, with the weapon passing through multiple layers of tissue in the neck. Dr Raj Golapelli telling the jury one wound to the neck was 2 centimetres deep, consistent with open scissors. When questioned on if the wounds may have been inflicted during the fall, the specialist told the court if the head had slipped through the scissors, it would not be a penetrating injury, and it's unlikely to have been caused by a fall unless there was a head rotation towards the weapon. A police interview following the incident was also played to the jury, Ms Lumley refusing multiple questions before telling officers, yeah, we had a bit of an argument, denying she inflicted the multiple stab wounds. Tomorrow, the court will hear final submissions, with the jury expected to reach a verdict by the end of the day. Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
Devonport's new multi-million-dollar Civic building and precinct is on track to open by August. State Government Cabinet members touring the facility today. Once complete, the site will house the city's new library, Service Tasmania, council offices, a food pavilion and an 800-seat convention centre.
Forward to what will probably be a really tough gig for our staff and for particularly, I guess, for Link to move however many library books they have to their new site, but I know that they're all really excited about what the possibilities are.
What it will do is not only transform this particular city, but it will provide great amenity for people on the coast.
$70 million project funded by the state, local and federal governments has so far come in under budget. Hobart will soon be home to a new $35 million retirement village at Lindisfarne, with the first sod officially turned today. The Springhaven Lifestyle Village is being constructed on a disused section of the Rosny Golf Course and will include 84 homes, a library, theatre and craft room.
In the centre of the village will be a large community garden, playgrounds for grandchildren and a large community centre for the residents to socialise.
We've been overwhelmed by the response. We've sold 76 of the 84 units already off the plan. So we've got a waiting list which also supports our Fairway Rise village.
Construction is expected to be complete by late next year. A 300-metre long Antarctic Ice Core sample has been brought to a Hobart Research Centre for scientists to conduct long-term analysis. Capturing over 1,000 years of information, the ice core will provide a vital snapshot of climate patterns in the Southern Hemisphere.
These scientists have spent 70 days in the blistering cold conditions of the Antarctic, extracting this 300-metre ice core, now on Australian shores and ready to be cut today.
We've just recently commenced cutting up the new ice core that we've retrieved from Antarctica. It's from East Antarctica in the Indian Ocean sector, and it's a high resolution ice core, which means we should be able to look at climate in a lot of detail over the last 1,000 years.
Throughout December and January, 7 researchers braced temperatures as low as -35 degrees to drill ice from Mount Brown south. The research will be exploring Antarctic weather patterns and the subsequent impact these patterns have on Australia's climate.
This ice core will hopefully give us a little bit more information about the hydroclimate cycle in Australia, so how rain falls over time and how it changes. So we're looking at the variability of drought and flood cycles.
So that involves cutting the core into many pieces, very individual in sizes and specific volumes that are required for specific analysis.
And what we do is derive what we call proxy climate records. So we look at individual things that we analyse in the ice core and see what they represent in terms of climate.
The project is part of a collaboration between Australia, Denmark, Canada and France, with samples being sent overseas for further study. A full analysis may take several years.
So this is a partnership of nations that are addressing the big questions that ice core science can answer, and so collectively we can do more than individually.
Ruby Kamain, Southern Cross News.
A new retail store is opening the door for young Tasmanians looking for work. Hunter Gather will offer retail traineeships to its employees. The business breaks new ground for City Mission by focusing on youth employment pathways.
For us, this is a big step out to see if we can start a youth-aimed, focused and delivered product.
Hunter Gather launches tomorrow. A post office veteran has stamped her authority on the job. Janice Collins has remained loyal to letter delivery for 40 years, making her among Australia Post's longest-serving employees.
Janice Collins is Tasmania's very own master of mail. When she started working at Australia Post in 1978, stamps cost 18 cents. Now she's the corporation's longest-serving retail employee in the state.
I started off with the scales that you used with weights, so you had to put a little weight on and go like that.
Over 4 decades, she's seen the switch from letters to postal packs and a steady stream of delivery vans going to her store in Kingsmeadows.
I started back in the days when there was no email, no internet. We didn't even have faxes or a photocopier, and mobile phones were a thing that we saw on telly for the future.
Australia Post and her job has moved on to a post-letter age. In fact, the number of letters being sent has halved in the past 10 years. But Janice says the popularity of parcels will see her role continue for some time to come.
It's reassuring to know that some things, while they may evolve, don't really change.
Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News.
Tasmania's young wonder Campbell Remus is inspiring Olivia Newton-John's cancer battle. The teenager who wants to one day become a medical researcher was surprised with a visit from the fellow cancer crusader.
14-year-old Campbell Remus is dreaming big.
Does that keep the cell alive?
One day he hopes to become a medical researcher and help cure cancer. Campbell sews his own teddy bears and sends them to patients. So far he's made more than 1,700 and now his story is going global. In January he was flown to LA to appear on The Steve Harvey Show.
You have touched a lot of people's hearts with your teddy bears. And I got a video message from one very special lady who wants to thank you for the bear that you sent to her. Take a look at this.
Hi Campbell, this is Olivia Newton-John and I'm so excited to be able to thank you. I wish it was in person, but for my beautiful rainbow bear. He's just so beautiful.
The legendary singer and actress was first diagnosed with breast cancer in 1992. She beat it and dedicated her life to fighting the disease. Last year, Olivia's breast cancer returned, so Campbell sent her a letter and a bear.
I do hope that I get to meet you someday and thank you in person and thank you for your loving heart.
That's pretty big, man. That's Olivia Newton-John. That's pretty big, man.
That's awesome.
And what about when he cut to that video of Olivia Newton-John and now that you're here in her research centre? That's pretty amazing.
That was very, very cool.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was very surprising.
Little did Campbell know there was another surprise coming. He thought he was at the hospital to hand out bears to strangers, but...
Campbell.
Hello. I'm good. How are you feeling?
I feel great. I've been wanting to meet you because I think you are just a spectacular young person.
Thank you.
The bear that you sent me sits in my bedroom. I think I wrote you, and he looks at me every night, and I think of you, and I think of the beautiful gift you're giving people.
They may seem an unlikely pair, the Tassie teen and the 69-year-old Hollywood sweetheart, but now they've joined forces, this dynamic duo is confident of finding a cure.
It's amazing how she's helping other people while she's sick as well. It's hard work, but it's good work. Yeah, one day it'll all come together and the magic will happen.
Now look at the day's business and finance news thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The Australian share market has closed lower amid widespread losses, including sharp falls in the telecommunications sector following Telstra's earnings warning. The ASX 200 index has dropped by 37.5 points. And a short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 75.1 US cents and 108.83 New Zealand cents.
He's spent the past 7 Big Bash seasons playing against his home state, but James Faulkner is now officially a Hobart Hurricane. And the dangerous all-rounder is confident he can help the Canes go one better this season after falling just short in 2017. Faulkner joined the Melbourne Stars for the inaugural Big Bash season and has since scored more than 550 runs and claimed 45 wickets for the franchise.
Probably 2 of the biggest decisions I've had in my career so far. One was leaving Tasmania in BBL 01 for the opportunity over there, and now to come back home, but I'm sure I've made the right one.
And so is the Cricket Tasmania CEO after yesterday's news that Dan Christian had signed with the Melbourne Renegades. Bart Cummins says Faulkner will more than fill the void.
The key with really good all-rounders is that you're getting 2 players for the price of 1, and a lot of our success last season, and indeed those teams are successful if their all-rounders are fit and firing.
A member of the Tigers' domestic squad since making his first-class debut in 2008, the signing means Faulkner can now play for Tasmania in all 3 formats of the game throughout 2018.
So that he can achieve everything he wants to out of his career, and at the same time be working for Tasmanian cricket the whole year. So effectively, we're not training him up to go and flog us when he plays for the Melbourne Stars.
And the 28-year-old former Test, ODI and T20 international says some of his best work with the bat and ball could still be yet to come, despite an injury-plagued 18 months.
I'm confident at the moment. I'm feeling as fresh and as good as what I have for a very long time. So that counts for nothing unless I can get some performances on the board. I feel like I've still got a lot to give in the game, not only with my output as a player, but for the younger players.
The 7 Tasmanian State League clubs' bid to save their competition is ramping up, with AFL CEO Gillon McLachlan inviting 2 TSL representatives to meet with the steering committee at AFL House in Melbourne next week. It's understood the representatives will be given a chance to present their model for the future of football in the state, which includes the TSL continuing in its current form, along with a separately funded Tasmanian side in the VFL. The steering committee will deliver its final decision on June 30. Fans heading along to see the Northwest Thunder play this weekend will be decked out in white T-shirts. Fans will receive a tee to wear when they give a donation to the Ronald McDonald House.
It'd be nice for the club to represent them and hopefully, get some big donations towards the charity.
The Thunder plays Mount Gambier at 7:30 in Devonport on Saturday night.
Good evening. Well, the autumn weather is really starting to take a grip. Hobart 14 today, Launceston and Burnie 15, Devonport a top of 16 degrees. That was the high around the state, 16, also recorded on Flinders Island. Temperatures between 1 and 4 below average as a few showers swept through with a cold front, mainly over the west and south. Low Head and St Helens 15 degrees, King Island, Smithton, Friendly Beaches, Ouse and Strawn 14. Lyawini our coldest again, -2 with a high there of 5. Now the clearer skies were over the north and east today as the front brought most of the cloud to the west and south. And that frontal cloud stretches from South Australia to our east. We also have the cumulus cloud extending over us from the southwest, representing a cold pool of air. Tomorrow, the slow-moving high over the Bight will be the dominant feature on the nation's weather. A weak front or two lie over the southern ocean. The southerly winds will tend more westerly by midday and at 15 to 25 knots over most waters and to 30 knots over the south, swells at 4 metres. A frost warning out for many districts for the early morning. Be careful. A strong wind warning from Tasman Island to Sandy Cape, a small craft wind alert for the lakes. Hobart. A cloudy day tomorrow, 14 the top again, 13 the high for Geefston with a shower, possible shower for Bothwell, 11 degrees. Launceston, a morning frost, partly cloudy, -1 overnight, 14 tomorrow, 14 also for Devonport, bit of cloud for Cressy after a cold start and 12 degrees. Burnie, a possible shower, 14, 13 the high for Strawn and 13 for Curry with a shower or two. And for eastern regions tomorrow, partly cloudy. 15, a very popular temperature, St Helens, Swansea and Orford all on that mark. On Thursday, showers contracting to the west-south and Bass Strait. Showers over King Island, the west and south. On Friday, mainly fine but cloudy elsewhere. And on Saturday, mainly fine apart from a shower over the west and far south. Partly cloudy for Perth tomorrow. A sunny 17 in Adelaide, cool and cloudy, and just 14 in Melbourne. And Sydney, a fine 19 degrees and sunny and 25 in Brisbane. Little showery over Hobart, 7 at the moment. Clear in Launceston though, 10, and clear in Devonport, 8 degrees. Heard you earlier, Rach, say that the Royal Wedding is going to be live on our channel Saturday night. What about the football?
I don't know, you'll have to watch all the royal activity. Thank you for that, Murph. Well, that's all your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us. Good night.